Ever find yourself saying yes when every fiber of your being is screaming no? Maybe you agree to take on extra work, attend a social event that you're dreading, or lend a hand when you're already stretched thin. Later, you're left feeling overwhelmed, resentful, and wondering why you can't just say what you mean. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. For many women with ADHD, setting boundaries feels like navigating a minefield, especially when the fear of being perceived as rude or unkind looms large for us. In this video, we're going to talk about why setting boundaries is especially hard when you have ADHD, how to protect your time and energy without guilt, what it means to be assertive, not rude, and how to work through that deep fear of rejection that can hold you back. Let me tell you about one of my clients. We'll call her Emily. Emily is a project manager at a tech company. She's smart, organized in her own creative way, and genuinely wants to be helpful. But she also has ADHD and was diagnosed just last year. When we first started working together, Emily told me that she felt like she was drowning in responsibilities. Not because she couldn't do her job, but because she kept saying yes to everybody else's job too. If a coworker was running behind, she'd stay late to help. If her manager asked her for something last minute, she'd drop everything. If a friend needed emotional support, she'd show up, even if she was emotionally tapped out herself. Emily said to me in session, I don't want people to think I'm selfish. I don't want them to be disappointed in me, but I'm exhausted at the same time. Does this sound familiar to you? So if you're nodding along right now, let's break this down to understand why this is such a common experience for ADHDers. First is executive dysfunction. ADHD affects the brain's ability to plan, prioritize, and pause. So when someone asks something of you, it's hard to stop and assess. Do I have the capacity for this? What will it cost me? Instead, you just react. And often that reaction is yes, because it's way easier to just say yes than the overwhelm of considering all the variables. Second is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. This is a big one. And if you'd like to learn more about RSD or rejection sensitivity dysphoria, there is a link in the description of this video. RSD means you're wired to feel perceived rejection, real or imagined, more intensely. So if you say no and someone sounds even slightly disappointed, your brain might interpret that as they're mad at me, I've failed, or I'm bad in some way. And that emotional weight can be crushing. Third is people-pleasing as a survival strategy. Many women with ADHD learned early on to overcompensate, to be the helper, the fixer, the peacemaker. Because when you're constantly told that you're too much or not enough, being useful becomes a way to feel worthy. And fourth is emotional dysregulation. When you try to set a boundary and someone pushes back or even just looks confused, it can trigger a huge internal response. Anxiety, guilt, shame. You might second guess yourself or abandon the boundary completely just to make the feeling go away. Now let's talk about this fear of being rude or too much. Many ADHDers are deeply empathetic. You care about how others feel. You don't want to hurt anyone. And that's a really beautiful trait. But it can backfire when you start putting everyone else's comfort ahead of your own well-being. What helps here is remembering boundaries are not barriers. They're actually bridges, and they help you show up more consistently, more authentically, and with less resentment. When you say, for example, I can't stay late tonight, you're not rejecting your coworker. You're respecting your own limit so that you can show up tomorrow with more energy. When you say, I need some time to recharge to a friend, you're not abandoning them. You're modeling self-respect and creating space to be more present when you do connect. Now, if this is resonating and you're wondering how to actually apply this in your life, this is exactly the kind of work I do with clients. If you want support that takes your ADHD brain into account, book a call with me. Let's talk about what's getting in the way and how to build boundaries that feel doable and not terrifying. You can't set boundaries if you don't know what your limits are. So start paying attention to when you feel drained, resentful, or anxious. That's often a signal that a boundary needs to be set or reinforced. You can ask yourself, what do I need less of right now? And what do I need more of? And in the moment, your brain might freeze. So give yourself a few go-to phrases. It could be something like, thanks for thinking of me. I can't take that on right now. Or perhaps I'm not available for that, but I hope it goes well. Or let me get back to you once I've checked my schedule. The goal here is to reduce the emotional labor of figuring it out in real time. And in the beginning, you might feel guilty. You might worry someone is upset, but that doesn't mean you did something wrong. It just means that you're breaking an old pattern, because discomfort isn't danger, it's growth. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're guidelines that help others understand how to be in relationship with you. Because you're not shutting people down, you're showing them how to love and respect you better. Start small. Say no to a minor favor. Decline a meeting that doesn't need your presence. Every time you set a boundary and survive the awkwardness, your brain learns, hey, that wasn't so bad. ADHD can make it hard to untangle your thoughts. So sometimes saying things out loud to a coach, therapist, or a trusted friend can help you feel more grounded and confident in your boundaries. One more thing that's important here, and that's follow through. It's not enough to say the words if your actions don't align. If you say you're unavailable and then cave 5 minutes later, it sends mixed messages to others as well as to yourself. Honor your own boundaries even when it feels uncomfortable, especially when it feels uncomfortable, because this is where your confidence starts to grow. Also, take note of your inner dialogue. Are you telling yourself stories like, they'll hate me, or I'm being difficult? Catch those thoughts and challenge them. Ask yourself, is that really true? Or is that just my fear talking? Self-talk is really powerful, and shifting it can help you feel more solid when you hold a boundary. And if someone reacts negatively, that's data. Because people who benefit from your lack of boundaries are often the ones who resist when you start setting them. And that doesn't mean that you're wrong. It means that you're growing. It might hurt, but it's also clarifying. And this way you get to learn who respects your needs and who only respects your compliance. Lastly, give yourself permission to reevaluate. Boundaries aren't set in stone. You can adjust them as your needs change. What matters is that they come from a place of self-awareness and care instead of obligation or fear. Because setting boundaries isn't about being rude, it's about being real. It's how to protect your energy, honor your capacity, and build healthier relationships at work and at home. And if you are ready to start creating boundaries that stick and actually feel good, book a call with me. We'll take it step by step with compassion and tools that work for your brain instead of against it. Because you don't have to do this alone. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and I will see you in the next one.